Hello Aquarius, Aquarius Rising and Aquarius Moon people. This is your monthly astrological horoscope for February 2017. And a quick reminder for you guys, remember the monthly horoscopes are talking about big seasonal shifts and big seasonal trends that are going on throughout the month. And in the case of February, we've got a couple of aspects that are lasting 3 months, even 4. So if you are thinking of like smaller, more on a weekly concern or even a daily concern, you definitely do want to check out the weekly horoscopes that I put up. The first half is exclusively astrology and the second half is tarot, so you get the best of both worlds. So, what is going on with your astrology for this month? Well, we do have, again, like I said, a lot of energy lasting a long time. Very seldom does anything last for one day, it looks like, as far as the seasonal shifts this month. At the beginning of the month, we do have Venus and Mars, both cruising through Aries, your third house of communications, all month. And it looks like opportunities for love and business success are going to be coming to you from a little bit of a distance. We may be noticing that if we are looking for love, we are looking for romance, it's going to be coming from areas, just outside of town. You may be finding that you have much better luck when you're doing job hunting or even looking for love online. You may even find out that people that you are affiliated with are kind of being the go-betweens a lot for you in these areas. If you have recruiters, if there are peers, colleagues, fellow students, a lot of third parties kind of bringing people together as far as a big theme of this month. So we want to make sure that we are socially available to people because there are going to be people kind of stepping in and making those connections for us. With Venus in the third house as well, it's also a great time to be spending more time connecting with siblings and members of your own generation. If we've been having some hostilities or maybe some tension with brothers, with sisters, with cousins, and things like that, we've actually got a lot of a nice turnaround going on here. This is also a time to be paying attention to where it is a good idea to consider getting ahead on any kind of publishing projects or creative projects that you know need to go out and be seen and maybe even received by the world at large. This is a great time for those of you that are trying to perhaps build up the popularity or the audience of a website. If you are a writer, a performing artist, or somebody who is trying to maybe launch something that is meant to kind of, again, be out and about in the greater world, especially online, this is a good time to be doing it. Those of you who are thinking about even just simply entertaining the idea may find that it snowballs into a really, really satisfying opportunity to, again, not only connect to new people, but possibly even find you some love and some coin. On the 6th of the month, we've got Jupiter turning retrograde in Libra, in your 9th house of further communication, further expansion. This is the great, this is the great beyond. This is the area that talks about international travel. This talks about your higher education, higher, authority figures, government and legal proceedings, as well as any kind of major licenses or permits that you need to have. And with Jupiter retrograde, from the 6th of this month going well up into June, a lot of you Aquarius people are going to be finding hidden gems that don't require you to be so available to, kind of push yourself to your limit. And when I say that, I don't mean to be vague, but when Jupiter is retrograde, it's actually a time to think about not maybe pushing ourselves, towards big, exhaustive moves, or trying to, maybe even stretch ourselves too thin, because Jupiter retrograde still brings us good luck, it still brings us happiness and wealth and security and all that kind of stuff, but what's happening is that we're finding it in our own backyard. So if you have been trying to maybe, contact people that you find who are very influential in bigger and badder places, or you've been trying to maybe get into this very, very specific school or this very, very specific university, or you have to go about a certain legal situation a very, very specific way, Jupiter retrograde is going to actually be solving the problem you're trying to solve, but it's going to be doing it in an unconventional way over the next 4 months. Again, what you think your game plan is can actually be simplified a lot. If you're also looking for ways to maybe even start drawing more attention to yourself in these areas, or develop more even spiritual or philosophical connections in your friends or in your relatives, have more intellectual stimulation, Jupiter retrograde is going to be giving them the cue to actually start thinking a bit more like you. On the 7th of the month, we've got Mercury moving into your sign, where it will stay from about the 7th to the 25th of the month. And this can actually be a really nice thing, because with Mercury in your sign, it's time to speed things up. Where have things been sluggish for you? Where has progress or productivity started to wane? When Mercury retrograde was, going on through Capricorn, or hell, just having Mercury in your 12th house in general for 2 months can really put things on a big stall. And when Mercury goes into your sign, again, what do we want to speed up is the question we have to ask ourselves so that we can, do it to it. Because Mercury does like to actually hasten things. It tends to, sort of, pave the road and make things a little bit quicker if you're trying to get a love relationship to progress faster, if you're trying to progress further and faster in your studies, if you're trying to progress further in a health regimen or a health routine. You get the wild card blessing of having this planet in your sign to get more out of it, but also at the same time to work on making things actually evolve more quickly in that middle 3 weeks of the month. On the 10th, we've got a very interesting turn of events. We've got a full moon lunar eclipse in Leo, in your 7th house of committed partnerships and your tightest one-on-one relationships. Now normally, a full moon lunar eclipse will create sort of a dramatic culmination or a huge ending, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad one. Because when we have this kind of eclipse, it doesn't just all slam together right away. Okay? I think that what's going to end up happening, interestingly enough, is that whatever's going to start this month will culminate and end in May. And this could be really good for those of you who are single Aquarians, because this can end the cycle of singledom. We've got this moon actually connecting very well and very positively to Uranus and to Saturn and Jupiter all at the same time. So this could actually create an opportunity for a brand new long-term relationship, very long-term relationship. We may meet this person towards the end of the month or even the beginning of March and get closer and closer as time goes by into May. For those of you who are currently coupled or more interested in a different kind of one-on-one relationship, such as your best friend or maybe a business partner or a roommate, this eclipse can bring some challenges up that people have been ignoring. Does this mean that it's the end of the relationship? Absolutely not. But what tends to happen is that it does highlight the elephant in the room, but for constructive reasons. And with this full moon, we may actually be getting rid of some kind of major obstacle to closeness and to trust in a relationship that may have been having troubles with that. We may also notice, though, that the emotions tend to raise a lot during this time. And depending on how well a person handles heightened emotional energy like that, can say whether this eclipse is going to be easy or hard. But because it is connecting so well to Saturn in your 11th house of friendships, there is going to be a new pact, a new promise, and a new commitment coming out of an existing relationship that you have that is going to be a sign of evolution in the way you bond with this person. And I think, again, it's a 3-month adventure that only begins in February. On the 18th, we've got the Sun moving into Pisces, into your earned income sector, where the Sun will stay all the way up until the 3rd week of March. And this talks about bringing new opportunities your way, but also making more out of what you have financially. Usually the Sun indicates a time of recovery, a time of healing, and a time of fertility. When we talk about fertility, we're talking about a higher yield, getting more money for doing the same amount of work. And a week later, we've got Mercury moving into the same place, speeding up the payout and the payoff of said work. What I really like a lot about the end of this month for a lot of Aquarius people who may have been having some financial challenges or maybe some employment challenges is that we've got fast reparations underway, and Mercury will be here for some time as well. Finally, we've got a solar eclipse new moon joining that Mercury in this area of your chart as we get into the very end of this month. And a solar eclipse new moon marks a new beginning. And a lot of you Aquarian people between February and May will actually segue into a brand new job. Possibly a new career, but a new job nonetheless. If you've been looking for more competitive pay, if you've been looking for an employer or a new work situation that has better potential for upward mobility, if you've been trying to find a way to advance yourself on your work path and on your career path, this is the eclipse you want to see. This is a huge breakthrough, especially for job hunters, and some of you who may not even be looking for a job, Find something that is so worthwhile, it would be foolish to say no. So that is your forecast, Aquarius. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And of course, if you'd like to get a session, you can always follow the links below, or go to integrativemysticism.com.